Hi, my name is Jeff Phillips with Sound Marketing, and I'm here this morning to discuss with you a workflow that I've worked out for helping people with their room acoustics. It's an important thing, and all audio starts with acoustics. I don't care what you're doing, whether it's a recording studio or a circus, it all starts with the acoustics. The acoustics have to be right for the application. Because words are important. We know that. What's a meeting without words, right? It's a series of slides. It's a silent movie. Communication that is clear is vital. It's vital to a variety of human interactions, like going to a house of worship. You want to hear the word, right? Uh, Business is based on verbal communication. You pick up the phone, you call the client, right? You do a little video, but the audio is always there. You want to pay attention to acoustics, especially today, when we're all working from our homes. We all have to make sure that our message comes across, even if we are distant from one another. So it's important that we pay attention to the acoustics in our own rooms, let alone the spaces that we help our clients with. And getting it right does pay off. It definitely does pay off. It pays off in intelligibility, in terms of conveying your message, in terms of getting paid for jobs. People will enjoy the beautiful sound system that you put together for them more if the acoustics are right. So let's have a look here. Video. Just a note here, video conferencing without video is called what? A phone call, right? Video conferencing without audio is, there you go. So why do people ignore acoustics? People, they do. They ignore acoustics for what I think are three basic reasons. First of all, they can't see it. People are very visual. And if you take away that that ability for them to visualize the problem they have with this room, why can't I use this room? People hate using this room. If they can't see it, they can't do something about it. And once even if they do know what the problem is, they don't know what to do about it, right? Okay, yeah, my acoustics suck in this room. Now what, right? They don't even know who to call. Who do I call you because you did my sound system? Maybe. Hopefully they're thinking about it like that, and they will give you a call. Best off that you think about it and you bring it up to your client, and that's going to be a lot better. The third reason that people ignore acoustics, in my estimation, is they don't trust because they trust the architects. Maybe they shouldn't trust the architects so much. I don't know. Maybe they ought to hold architects to a different standard. We'll talk about that in a second. Why do people build rooms that are like this? They're all rectangular walls. It's all hard surfaces. Of course, this room isn't finished. We don't know the finished product yet. But oftentimes, you get finished products that look like this. Check out this conference, this multi-use space here. We got a whole bunch of people. Nothing much absorptive I can see in this room, except maybe the people. Maybe the ceiling tiles, if we're lucky. Ceiling tiles aren't the solution to everything, and oftentimes they're in a convenient spot to put acoustic treatment, not the best spot. More of that later. Why do people build conference rooms like this? Thank goodness there's carpeting on the floor. My gosh, but carpet over cement really doesn't do much above 2,000 hertz. So what are you really getting? So how do we do better? Well, about this don't know what to do about a thing. Well, we develop an approach, right? That's you and me. We develop an approach. We develop a workflow to manage the data that's coming in. What do we do about can't see it? Well, we show our client the data. We show our client renderings and help them relate to the data that we're presenting back to them and the proposal that we're giving them. Do we trust architects? Well, yeah, we can. We just got to state very, very specific audio design goals. Now, you and I probably don't get brought into the process until way after those decisions were made. So our task is remediation, and it's a sucky place to be, but that's where we typically are. If you can get in front of the architect ahead of time, or advise your owner to get in front of the architect ahead of time, you're going to end up with a better sounding room to begin with. That's great. We also owners have to hold architects responsible. They have to consider the function of the space. And if the architect builds them a bad room acoustically, architect's got to fix it. Easy for me to say, right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so step number one, gather data. Get photos, get video of the space. If you can, get an audio recording of the space. If nothing else, that audio recording will serve as your before picture, right? Okay, and now get floor plans, elevations, get dimensions, and then we're off to the races here. Now, just as an example for the rest of this video, I want to talk about this room that I did very recently. It's a room that looks like this. It's got big, beautiful windows out to the street in Chicago, and there's some pictures, some detail about the ceiling and whatnot. This is a physical therapy studio. This main space is 60 feet by 34 by 21 feet up to the bottom of the steel, 22 feet approximately to the top of the steel. So that's what we got to work with. Let's take a look at how an acoustic analysis would work in here. First of all, there are two types of analysis that I typically do. One is a room mode analysis, and the second is, come on, there we go, reverberation analysis that uses these equations. So yeah, math, right? If those of you who have had physics of acoustics in school or something, that's great. For the rest of us, yeah, you're gonna have to hit the books again. I did, and I came up with a spreadsheet. Huzzah! So I've now got a spreadsheet that does all of the calculations that I need to all in one spot. Can you have it? We'll talk. Assume no for now, okay? So we've got this spreadsheet, and it tells you that, and it gives you some place to put all the data. Now, I do a little thing. Notice the acceptable RT for intelligible speech number there, and then I add a constant for if you're just using background music and intelligible speak isn't really an issue. So I come out with and that figure I'll explain some other time. I'll explain to you in person. It's pretty complicated. It's a logarithmic guess off of a graph, but it's a pretty good guess. But this spreadsheet is designed so that if I need to use it in a hurry, I can just enter the inputs being the length, width, and height of the room. If I put in those, it'll give me the volume of the room right away. It'll also expand those three dimensions out into the 6 panels, right? 6 sides of a rectangle. And then I can start dropping in what materials. The materials, I have a whole different database, different tab on the spreadsheet that takes me through a whole bunch of materials, and each material has an absorption coefficient. In each octave band, and this is published data, every piece of typical construction material will absorb a certain amount and reflect the rest in a particular octave band. So that data is all in there. My spreadsheet drops all of that data in for the particular material as you're putting the thing together. And so then once we have those inputs, we have a look at the output. Where are we right now? Where are we starting, right? Well, okay, let's talk about room modes a minute. I mentioned them before. Room modes are the reflections you get between parallel walls in a rectangular room. Well, you get them in other shapes of rooms as well, but we're talking about roughly rectangular rooms. And so I've got a fourth order equation or an equation that adds and does a table add based on rankings of harmonics and stuff. I'll explain it some other time to you, but the important thing is that every room has some resonances. And those resonances are going to be there despite whatever else is in the room. And in this particular room, we've got a stack up of resonances that's not too bad, but it's centered around 78, 79 hertz. If you had a cube, that would be really bad because all the resonances would stack up on the same frequencies, and it would look be much more pointed, and that'd be a really hard room to work in. A golden rectangle, hey, now we're talking. Now the resonances are spread a little bit more, and it's going to be a better sounding room to begin with. But we didn't make the room, right? So let's talk about the reverberation time. In this particular room, I'm very impressed to see that 125 hertz is actually as low as 2 seconds expected reverberation time. And that's because of the glass. The glass tends to flex a bunch with low frequencies, and it'll let some of that energy out into the street. Conversely, it'll let some energy in those lower frequencies into the room, but we can't predict that right now. But we have a really big problem around the 1 kilohertz band. Look at that. It's almost 7 seconds worth of reverb time. We got to do something about that. So what do? We start adding panels in the wall. Now this is just another section of that same spreadsheet, and it's going to bring in absorption coefficients for typical treatment panels, remediation panels, if you will, Purdue acoustic panels. And I've chosen 2-inch thick panels on the wall and 2-inch thick cloud panels, some of them suspended from the ceiling, and a couple half rounds too. I threw in there. Actually, I threw half rounds in the example, but I didn't put any. But the data's there. So it's a matter of now of, do we choose the right absorber to fit the form and function of the room, the right number of them, and do we put the acoustic treatment in the right place? There's a whole different video I can do about putting the acoustic treatment in the right place. That's not today. Stay tuned. But I can tell you that if we put that assortment of panels into this room, we are going to level out the expected reverberation time. It's going to sound a lot more natural. Our reverberation time is nowhere close to the 0.75 seconds or so that I'd like to get this room, but it's usable. You know, it's not like we're doing speeches in this room. This room is for cardiovascular support. So getting it down to 2 seconds, I think in this instance is pretty reasonable. Now let's take it a step further, because remember, people they want to see what solution you have to their acoustics. It's kind of weird. But how do we communicate this? Well, here's how we build a model. Now, can't always build a model, don't always need to build a model. But building a model can increase your accuracy. Instead of having just 6 planes, you can start getting exact volumes of how much drywall, how much mirror, how much glass, how much ceiling you've got to work with, and then that helps you refine your calculations. And there you go. So what about the panels? Well, this visualization can also help you explain to the client where the panels are going. Right? Look, now I put panels in the picture, and now you're showing rather than telling. You are your quote now has a more understandable context for the customer, especially if you've taken the time to have your model actually reflect what the room looks like. Your customer can relate to it better. And you're going to increase your engagement of that client into your solution. Now you're bringing your chair around to their side of the desk, or better yet, they're bringing their chair around to your side of the desk, and you're looking at the plans together. You're saying, okay, I need to do this if I'm going to make this room better, and they become part of the solution. And they're going to have an increased willingness to pay for the right solution, not just something halfway, but something that's all the way to get them all the way to where you think they need to be. And of course, they're going to be more increasingly willing to sign the contract and give you the work. And that's the point, right? So there we go. A little bit about Purdue Acoustics. USA-made product, 100% USA-made product in Amarillo, Texas. Everything is made to order. Everything is custom. You order a 2-foot by 2-foot panel, it's going to be a custom order. That's fine. They're competitive with other custom ordered acoustic treatments. Nothing bad about that. Now, something really, really good about that is they make everything out of mineral wool and wrap it in Guilford of Maine fabrics. Both of these things are flame retardant, and the mineral wool itself will give you twice the low frequency absorption of the corresponding volume of fiberglass. So remember that. Mineral wool, way better than fiberglass. And flame retardant rather than fiberglass can burn. Face it, it can burn. It's not you won't find a charred out house with a bunch of fiberglass left behind. You might find, hopefully you won't find a charred out house at all, but if you do and it had mineral wool, you'd still see that mineral wool. It would be intact. And lastly, it's represented by sound marketing. So hey, it's all good, right? A little bit about acoustics in a box, because not always can you have a complete custom solution. Oh, before I forget, the custom panels from Purdue Acoustics are wrappable in your favorite image. You can have a sequence of images. You can do just beautiful logos, artwork, cartoons, whatever, pictures of products that company might be involved in manufacturing and distributing. Put them on the panel, make it look beautiful. Engage their creativity in coming up with some graphics for you, and then they'll have a piece of art and acoustic treatment that they need. Opposite end of the spectrum, if you just need a bunch of panels to put in a room, Acoustics in a Box is your friend. It's a division of Purdue Acoustics, but it's in Nashville, Tennessee, 100% USA made again, and 24 by 48 inch panels is what they make. That's what they make at Acoustics in a Box. They make panels that are that size, they stuff them in a box and ship them to you. It's great. Having a workflow like that takes a lot of costs out of manufacturing, makes them able to stock things and get them to you fairly quickly. Now, it's still mineral wool, still Guilford, Maine. There's a selection of about 6 different colors you can get instead of the thousands you can get with Purdue Custom. With Acoustics in a Box, you're getting a selection of 6. If you want the rest of the 1,000, you can do that. There's going to be an upcharge. But the idea is maximum acoustic treatment, minimum price, no frills. Here's your box of acoustics. And they also come with these nifty, if I have them around my office here, you can't see them because I got the green screen up, but they call them Black Hole. This is one of Jay Purdue's big inventions. He found a way that you can actually fold up this essentially kind of like a plastic pizza box, put it on the wall, hang the panel on it, and now it'll space the panel away from the wall at an angle. Okay, why at an angle? Well, first of all, spacing can almost double the effectiveness of absorption of sound for that one panel. And putting it at an angle to the wall also spreads the Q of that absorption, spreads the absorption capability over a wider frequency range. So it's really cool, and it costs like nothing. So you get those when you buy a box of Acoustics in a Box. All right, that's it for today. It's represented by Sound Marketing, just like Purdue is, and I thank you for your attention. Here's my information, and I'll see you next time.